This program is proudly brought to you by Sportingbet.
I'm Nick Quinn and welcome to the latest edition of Australia's newest racing show, Chewin the Fat. The Spring Carnival starts tomorrow, punters, and we're going to have a look at all the races at Caulfield and help you find a winner. We've got a massive show for you today. We'll be joined in the studio by Melbourne gun Cale Morton. Ian Rimington, the man famous for selling black caviar, will be in the studio from Swettenham Stud. Natalie Hunter's not with us today. She's out working on her town in Fiji. But we've got a more than capable replacement in the lovely Bree Laughlin. Welcome, Bree.
Thank you, Nick. Thanks for having me.
Now, you're the face of Caulfield. Tell us about the role that's going to envisage.
Yes, that's right. I'm the face of Caulfield this year and it's going to be very, very busy. There's so much happening, which is fabulous. With the support of Chadston and David Jones, it's very exciting.
So what are some of the reasons why punters would want to flock to Caulfield tomorrow?
Oh, well, with of course the Scalacci and Black Caviar, so that's very exciting. We've got Sneaky Sound System playing after the Chadston Fashion Stakes. It's going to be all happening. And
ironically, you've just mentioned Sneaky Sound System and we're joined in the studio by Cale Morton. Cale, welcome.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. I've heard so much about the show and I'm happy to be here.
Oh, well,
terrific.
What a lovely intro. That might be our ad for next week.
Now, Cale, you've been very busy, obviously, over the season. So in the off-season, I see in the paper you're actually getting involved in the tennis. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, I got asked last week to do something for the Australian Open, so I think it involves me playing in a little doubles tournament. But, you know, the trouble is finding a partner that's up to my standards, so that might be a bit of a challenge.
Oh, dear. So Josh Gibson, obviously, Liam Jones, who's going to be your pick?
Look, I think Bryce Gibbs probably be the pick of the bunch, but I've got to pick a player from Melbourne, so I think that's the challenge. That's going to be the toughest thing about the doubles tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been trying the boys out during the week, having a hit with a few of them to see who's up to scratch?
Yes, I had a Grand Slam match with Max Gorn the other night, and we went to the clay courts at Dendy and took the match in 4 sets, so I was pretty happy with that. You
were happy, although you dropped a set to Gorney.
Yeah, the third set, he's a big boy, he's 208 centimetres, and he came to the net and I couldn't get it past him.
Yeah.
Well, now, you had a long-term relationship with Kayla. Is there any a ring anytime soon?
Oh, jeez, I think Nick's put me up to this time. Nah, no rings anytime soon, but if I can pick a roughie this weekend, you never know. I might have to invest.
Well, after you form in the footy show, I'm sure there'll be some smooth moves very soon.
Yeah, that was a bit of fun, wasn't it, the footy show? So I don't know if Kayla's expecting something. She might have given Quinny a little tap there.
I don't know why everyone's looking at me. I asked the racing questions here. Bree's doing the entertainment side of it, so I'm just intrigued as to where that question came from, but very happy with it nonetheless.
Oh, well done, you got me there, guys.
Well, Cale, of course there's a lot of hype surrounding social media at the moment, so Facebook, Twitter. What do you think, how that works for footballers? Do you find it's an advantage or does it work against you?
Well, actually, I've just gotten off my Twitter. I found it a bit of a hindrance at times. As good as it is and as much fun as you have on it, I just found too many people are saying negative things about you, and you probably don't need that, especially when you're down, low on confidence, as you do at stages throughout the season. So I've gotten rid of it. I'm just going to start next season with a clean slate and keep my cards close to my chest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Very interesting. Now, we both know you love the races and you're very keen on all your sports, but particularly racing. You've got a few shares in horses. Tell us about that, and I believe trained by our co-host Edward Sadler's father.
Yes, got a couple of horses. We've got a horse trained by Michael Kent down at Cranbourne, and the other is named Penny Snatcher, who's trained by John Sadler. So looking forward to seeing those run hopefully in the autumn of next year, but if Edward can tell his old man to get him out on the track, that'll be nice.
Has Edward said anything like, oh, because you've come on the show, we'll wipe the training fees for this month or anything like that?
No, he hasn't yet. I'm waiting to see him after the show.
Now, you're going to go to the races on Saturday at Caulfield. Is there anything this far out that's taken your fancy from a betting perspective?
Yep, certainly I'll be at the races, and look, I haven't heard your guys' tips yet, but I'm going to go with Tanby in race 3 as my best bet of the day, and I'm going to wait for tips from you guys to see what else I'm going to punt on.
Do you have a little value bet for the punters because you're renowned, good at finding a long-priced winner?
Yeah, I don't mind Torio's Quest. What's that? What race is that? Racing against...
Torio's Quest in the Toorak handicap?
Yeah, I think so. I don't mind that at about $10, so hopefully that can get over the line for a bit of a cheer for the battlers.
Beautiful. Now, you're a Perth boy, and we know you get some fantastic Perth mail, so I believe you've got one for Perth later on in the show as well.
Yeah, get a bit of mail over in Perth, my home deck over there, so I think I've got Sound Barrier, race 4, number 5, so keep an eye on that. Hopefully it presents some good odds for the punters.
We were going to get on before you gave it to the fans because now the price will be gone, but... what can you do about that?
You better get on it quick, guys.
Well, thanks for joining us, Cale. Good luck with the pre-season. I know that's coming up and it's pretty hard work, so best of luck, and thanks for joining us.
No worries. Thanks for having me, guys.
We'll head to a break, and as we return, Nick, Edward and I will look at the feature race markets for this Saturday's The Age Caulfield Guineas. You're watching Chewin the Fat, thanks to Sportingbet.
Sportingbet is built by punters for punters, so you get the very best experience. At Sportingbet, you can expect more from the latest in customised betting with black books, favourites and iForm. Plus, Sportingbet covers all the exotics, including trifectas, quinellas, exactas and first four. Bet fast online or at sbet.mobi on your mobile, anytime, anywhere. That's why there's no better bet than a Sportingbet.
Caulfield Guineas, October 8. Book early bird tickets now.
Welcome back to Chewing the Fat. As the international raiders continue to arrive, the cup markets are really taking shape. Tomorrow, many of the raiders will be stepping out for the first time, and our man, Edward Sadler, is all over their progress.
Thanks, Nick. Yeah, good to be on the show as usual. It's early for the internationals to be running, isn't it? I mean, normally we wait to Caulfield Cup Day and then perhaps Moonee Valley the week after, and then Flemington they're in full stride. But interesting to see they're kicking off this Saturday. We've got the 2 Brian Allison horses in the Herbert Power. Bowers in that race as well, and the Commounties have also got a horse running in the Yalumba, the Caulfield Stakes, later on in the day. So they're going around a little bit early. I like to wait to see how they go first when they're over here to get a guide as to who we like from the internationals.
I think from a punting perspective, though, it's sensational they're having a few runs before going to the Caulfield, Melbourne Cups and maybe the Cox Plate, because there's nothing worse than there's this horse with great overseas form, but you haven't seen it. You just don't know what to make of it.
Definitely, and you look through history since the internationals have been coming here since the early 90s, back when I was in nappies, Nick. And generally the pattern has been those have won the Cups have had a run before. Say, you look at Media Puzzle, won the Geelong Cup American last year. Delta Blues ran a terrific race in the Caulfield Cup prior to taking out the Cup. So the pattern has generally been those that have won the Cup have run really well before the Cup.
And they do dominate the Cups betting at the moment. I believe Bree's got the Caulfield Cup market in front of her here.
Yes, I sure do, thanks to Sportingbet. We've got December Draw at $2.70. At First Sight at $8, Midas Touch at $11, Glass Harmonium at $14, Lucas Cranach at $18, Elko Pop at $20, Precedence at $23, Mighty High at $23, Secret Admirer at $23 and Green Moon at $23. And it's $31 or better for the rest.
A huge day's racing at Caulfield tomorrow, where the rail is true, the track is a good 4, and the weather will be nice and sunny for the punters. The main race of the day is the Group 1 Caulfield Guineas. Helmet put the writing on the wall with a brilliant win in the Guineas Prelude last start and will go into the race as a warm favourite. But there are plenty of smart horses looking to take the title off him. One late contender is Chase the Rainbow from the Rick Hall Lacey yard, and our man Edward Sadler caught up with his trainer, Rick Lacey.
There looks to be good speed in the race on Saturday with Helmet and possibly Smart Missile and Manawanui going forward. Will you be happy for him to go back?
Indeed, and even happier if those three are pulling their heads off.
He looks to be the best of the Victorian 3-year-olds. How do you line up, say, the Melbourne form to the Sydney form?
Well, it's hard to do that, but the Sydney colts do look very good, and it's going to be a good race. Normally, there's only a couple outstanding colts. I remember the year Reduced Choice beat Testarossa. They were the only two top colts that year, or this year there looks to be at least 4.
He's one of racing's characters, Rick, isn't he? Edward, can Chase the Rainbow cause the upset?
I don't think he's got the class to in the Guineas. I really like him from a derby perspective. I think the race will be run to help him, though. It was a terrific win last Friday. You've got horses like Helmet will go forward, Manawanui will go forward. So I think there'll be a bit of pace on. He likes to get back and run on, Chase the Rainbow, but I don't think he's got the class of the Sydney 3-year-olds to win on Saturday anyway.
What about yourself, Bree? Have you found one you fancy?
Me, I actually think Chase the Rainbow will have the legs, and I think with Dean Yendall on it, Dean's a fantastic jockey. I think he's really underestimated, and he's certainly willing to put in the work. So Chase the Rainbow's my pick.
You've gone with Chase the Rainbow on the back of the Rick Lacey video. There we go. I think Helmet will be too good. I was very impressed with his win last start. Our studio guest Cale Morton, though, he's declared Smart Missile close to a good thing. So it'll be very interesting to see how that one pans out.
Well, I agree with Cale, Nick. I think Smart Missile will win, and earlier in the week caught up with Anthony Cummings. This is what he had to say about Smart Missile after his run of the Rupert Clark.
Smart Missile runs in the Caulfield Guineas on Saturday. Our last time we spoke, he just had a barrier trial last week. How's he come through that?
Yeah, really well. We got what we wanted out of the trial on Tuesday last week. Basically just wanted to see him jump and sort of put himself in it and sort of load correctly, which he did do. So happy about that. Pleased with his gallop this morning, and it's onto the Guineas on Saturday.
And just recapping on those selections, so we've got Nick and Natalie both going with Helmet. And Edward and Cale are sticking with Smart Missile. I think he'll sit on the pace, so if he can keep up, I think he could be a good result. But I'm going to go with the Rick Lacey stable and stay with Chase the Rainbow.
In one of the most competitive races of the day, race 6 is the Group 1 David Jones Toorak Handicap over 1,600 metres. Our man Edward Sadler went out to the track to catch up with connections.
Toorak Toff, the horse behind you, runs in the Toorak Handicap. How did he come through the run in the Rupert Clark?
He's always pulls up well after his races, Toorak Toff. He's very sound, and he's getting a bit of weight though, and 58 kegs. In fact, I paid up for him third payment for the Cox Plate this morning, more because I'm worried about the weight he's getting in these handicaps. But he's getting to the stage now where he's probably just going to have to run in weight for age races.
King's Rose runs in the Toorak Handicap. Was it just because of the wire barrier that you'd scratched from the Epsom?
No, she had a slight blood disorder last week, but she's overcome that and her work was good this morning. So both her and Lou and Yat Forever will take their place in the Toorak. Her form's as good a form line as there is at the moment through the stock stakes, Pinker and Lady Lynette and the likes, and even the horses behind them running well. So it looks a good option for her, and Lou and Yat Forever, we're just hoping to draw a barrier with him. He's drawn the outside at his previous couple of runs and run super on both occasions, so out to the mile, and I think this was a race he was placed in last year when he was trained from Macau. He's there to run super also.
Stewie Yosei runs in the Toorak Handicap here on Saturday. What do you think of her last run in the Rupert Clark?
Yeah, she was definitely disappointing. She had a couple of little niggles after the race. I don't think she appreciated the very firm track, but yeah, she was disappointing.
How'd she come through it?
Probably took us most of last week to sort of iron out a few niggling little things, but she's definitely, I think she's back to where we want to be now. She galloped very good in the course proper this morning, so hopefully we're on track.
Very interesting, Edward. Lots of confident connections there. Bree, you've got the market in front of us for the Toorak?
I do, Nick. The David Jones Toorak Handicap, thanks to Sporting Bet. We have King's Rose at $4.60, Lou and Yat Forever at $6, Fast Clip at $6.50, Toorak Toff at $7.50, Torios Quest at $10, Wurim at $11, and King Mufasa at $12.
Good to see they've thrown in some tongue twisters there for you in the Toorak.
They sure have.
Edward, what did you make of the race, mate?
I like King's Rose. She's done everything right, hasn't she, Nick? She's had 2 starts in Australia, 2 wins. Peter Moody said on Tuesday morning when I spoke to him that she did have a couple of little issues that meant she was scratched from the Epsom last week, but those have been sorted out, and if she runs to her best, which I think she will, I think she'll win.
Well, Edward, you're all over Kings Rose, and I agree with you. I'm sticking with Kings Rose not only tomorrow, but I'm still confident she'll win the Cox Plate. What about you, Bree? Have you found a winner for the viewers out there?
Yes, well, I think Toorak Toff's going to run a great race on Saturday. I think Rick or Lacey must be doing something right down there for me, so all the best of luck to Rick.
When you're the face of Caulfield, you're out at Caulfield, did a lot of the trainers say you want to tip my horses this week, and was Rick one of them?
No. Maybe you should be the face of Caulfield, Nick. We're picking Peter Moody's horses.
I think Nick's next year's hair of Caulfield.
Well, you're sticking with Toorak Toff to give the stable a winning double tomorrow.
Yes, fingers crossed.
Excellent. Well, Edward and I are sticking with Kings Rose, and Bree, you're been a little bit different with Toorak Toff, but run us through who the other tipsters have gone for.
Yes, no worries. So both yourself, Cale and Edward are sticking with Kings Rose, and the girls, Natalie and I, are going with Toorak Toff this weekend. So it's a battle of the sexes, that's for sure. We'll see how that turns out. Well, we'll go to a break. When we return, Nick, Edward and I will take a further look at the feature races on this Saturday at Caulfield. You're watching Chewin the Fat, thanks to Sportingbet.
Sportingbet is built by punters for punters, so you get the very best experience. At Sportingbet, you can expect more from the latest in customised betting with black books, favourites and iForm. Plus, Sportingbet covers all the exotics, including trifectas, quinellas, exactas and first four. Bet fast online or at sbet.mobi on your mobile, anytime, anywhere. That's why there's no better bet than a Sportingbet.
Go Royal at Randwick this spring. Book now at ticketek.com.
Welcome back to Chewing the Fat. All eyes in the world will be on race 4 at Caulfield tomorrow, the Group 2 Scalacci Stakes over 1,000 metres, sponsored by Schweppes. The reason? The fairy tale itself, Black Caviar, aiming for 14 wins from as many starts. But one bloke hoping the dream doesn't come true is Sydney jockey Tommy Berry, who's down to ride Karuta Queen. Our man Edward Sadler caught up with Tommy.
Tommy, you rode Karuta Queen here on Saturday. You rode her in a gallop this morning. How'd she go?
Yeah, she went enormous. She worked over half a mile and ran up 600 metres, and she spotted a couple of Moody's pair. I think 5 lengths in front of her at the 200, and she mowed them down quite nice. So her work was enormous, and really looking forward to going into Saturday now.
Do you feel like you're running for second when you're running against Black Caviar, or do you think she has a chance?
Well, you know, if you run second to Black Caviar, it's great. You know, the breeder's happy to see that, but if we can beat her, it's a bonus. So, you know, I think a lot of people do think that. I'm going out to beat her, but there's a big chance I probably won't. But you got to dream a little bit, and hopefully we can give it our best shot.
Gee, Tommy Berry quite confident there, almost bordering on a little bit cocky ahead of his clash with Black Caviar, but all the Chewing the Fat tipsters are sticking with the mighty mare at the pretty short odds. And Bree, how short is she exactly?
Yes. Nick, for the Schweppes Scalacci Stakes at Caulfield on Saturday, Black Caviar is at $1.08. We've got Karuta Queen at $11, Culgrinda at $17, and Sterling Grove at $21.
$1.08, it does sound ridiculously short, but you think, well, hang on, I've got 100 on, might as well throw it on and pay for the next 2 beers.
I don't think like that, Nick.
No, that's because girls buy your
I don't
drinks
have
for
the
you.
100 to put on. I'm a uni student, so I just think it's a watch race. Just go to Caulfield, enjoy it. You're going to be witnessing history, basically. That's why you'd watch it.
Yeah, no, you're probably right, Edward. You're probably right. They're on the side of caution, as you always do. But race 5 tomorrow at Caulfield is a much more open race. Over 2,000 metres is the Caulfield Stakes. Edward, have you had a chance to have a look at the Caulfield Stakes?
Yeah, I have. I really like Lion Tamer. That was a terrific win last time in the Underwood Stakes. The step up to 2,000 metres, given that he is a Derby winner, will suit. And I think he's the one to beat. But it is a pretty open race, Nick. What did you make of it?
I think Lion Tamer is going to win tomorrow, and then I think Connections are really going to be in a wonderful position where they can say we might have a massive chance in both the Cox Plate, the Caulfield Cup. Which way do you and then the Melbourne Cup?
I actually heard Murray Baker being interviewed as I was driving here, Nick, and he was saying that their main aim is the Cox Plate, but they'd also love to run him in the Melbourne Cup. So I would say definitely Cox Plate. I don't think he'll run in the Caulfield Cup. And then depending on how he goes in Moonee Valley, that will determine whether he runs in the Cup 2 weeks later.
Well, there we go, punters. Listen to Edward and don't back Lion Tamer for the Caulfield Cup. But Bree, punters wanting to back Lion Tamer tomorrow, what odds are they looking at?
The early market for the Caulfield Stakes, thanks to Sporting Bet, we have Lion Tamer at $3.50, Who We Got You at $4.20, Elko Pop at $7.50, Sincero at $7.50, Lights of Heaven from Peter Moody at $9, At First Sight at $9, Mighty High at $10, and finally Playing God at $11.
And I think you've tipped one at a little bit of odds, have you?
I've tipped Elko Pop, actually. I've got a bit of a soft spot for that horse, so I'm hoping that it can have a win for Jake Stevens.
I thought you were going to say you got a little bit of a soft spot for Jake Stevens.
That's a bit ambitious.
Oh, no, a little bit of blushing there. It will be the first time we've developed a bit of a romance on this set.
You seem to be the matchmaker on this show. Next time we see you on the screen, could you be the host of Farmer Wants a Wife or something like that?
Just call me Cupid.
Yeah, over Natalie.
Well, as Bree just pointed out, Lion Tamer is favourite for tomorrow. Lion Tamer's right at the top of Melbourne Cup markets, and our man Edward Sadler's caught up with a few of Lion Tamer's Cup rivals.
Sahara Sun's only had the one run for the Kamani team, previously coming from Chile.
Yeah, he the Chilean Derby runner-up. He's been with us since about March. Took a while to adapt to a different training method, i.e. up a hill rather than round a track, and so he had his first run for us and it was promising. He'll definitely improve for that and come on for it, but being really happy with the way he's adapted to training back on a track here at Werribee. He seems to be nice and relaxed and taking it all in his stride.
Lights of Heaven, what do you think of her run in the Underwood?
Well, listen, she hasn't run bad, but she hasn't run up to expectation the last couple, would be an honest way of describing it. She's improved a lot in the coat and the condition. She's at that stage where if she doesn't run well Saturday, she'll go to the paddock. But, you know, I can't fault her at home. There's no rhyme or reason for her not to run well. We know she's got the ability to be competitive with these horses, so... you know, it's sit on the fence time, but she'll go to the paddock if she doesn't perform.
Mighty High, how'd he come off his run at Caulfield?
Yeah, he's nice and fresh right now. He's going real good. We're going to have a nice 3/4 pace gallop tomorrow just to tick him over. Super fit horse. I'm actually glad he's running in the 2000 on Saturday. He's just getting a bit fresh right now, which is great. Think he's going to run a big race.
Well, we'll recap selections for the Caulfield Stakes. We've got Nick, Edward and Natalie are all going with Lion Tamer, so best of luck to them. Cale's sticking with Who We Got You, which is a good tip. You really can't rule out Who We Got You. It's such a great horse. And I'm going to go with Elko Pop.
Well, we've got plenty of emails to get through here on Chewing the Fat. And don't forget to shoot us one too. Go to feedback@chewingthefat.com.au. Who wants to get the ball rolling here?
Well, Edward, I mean, most of the letters are about you, so it's only fair that you read one out from the list in front of you, isn't it?
Yep, that's all right. This one's from Ted from Taylor's Lakes. And Ted says, Nick Quinn seems to be Cupid on Chewing the Fat, but what's Nick got in his love life?
Right, moving right along to the next letter because no one wants to see what I've got. Bree, have you got any letters in front of you?
Yes, I do. I actually have one all the way from New York.
Well, there we go.
Yes, from Brad Blanks. He says, "Hi guys, love the show. Is Natalie Hunter related to Sandra Sully? She's a great talent and great tips."
Well, I wasn't quite sure where you were going with that last one, but Edward's related to Natalie, their cousin, so is there any bloodlines through Sandra Sully?
No, there's not. No,
so no. We can deny that one?
Deny that one, yeah.
Sorry about that.
I've got a family tree at home if you want me to bring it for next week.
That would be lovely, Edward, if you could. I've got one here from Adam from Cheltenham. Love the show. My mates and I came round to watch it last week. we were getting so fired up as to who the best tipster was, it resulted in a physical altercation. So good to see that Chewin the Fat is actually causing a few a few blues out there.
Definitely, Nick. We've got one between me and some of the cameramen about what they've been saying off air. So that could be one to watch out for next week.
What's that in relation to, Edward?
We'll keep it to next week. It's the scoop for next week's show. We've got the Hour Caulfield Cup special next week. So to milk up a bit of the time, we've got our new segment In the Ring with Edward Sadler.
Yes, well, we'll be betting on you there, Edward. So what have we got coming up after the break there, mate?
That's the lay of the week, by the way, me in the ring next week. Well, coming up after the break, we catch up with Ian Remington from Swettenham Stud to talk about Black Caviar, the mighty mare that he sold as a yearling, and we'll also be looking at the Group 2 Herbert Power Stakes. You're watching Chewing the Fat.
Go Royal at Randwick this spring. Book now at ticketek.com.
Sportingbet is built by punters for punters, so you get the very best experience. At Sportingbet, you can expect more from the latest in customised betting with black books, favourites and iForm. Plus, Sportingbet covers all the exotics, including trifectas, quinellas, exactas and first four. Bet fast online or at sbet.mobi on your mobile, anytime, anywhere. That's why there's no better bet than a sporting bet.
Welcome back to Chewing the Fat. The Cup's picture will become a lot clearer after race 3 at Caulfield tomorrow, the Group 2 Herbert Power Stakes over 2,400 metres. Our man Edward Sadler went out to Werribee to catch up with some of the international raiders ahead of the race.
Start off looking at Bauer, last start winner of the Old Borough Cup at Haydock in September. That was his first win for 3 years.
Yeah, no, it was fantastic. I think it was a pretty emotional moment for everyone because he's had a few problems, and not to mention here in Melbourne last year it was a sort of heart wrencher. But anyway, look, he's back. He seems to be in great form. He did a piece of work yesterday. And showed that he was sort of in good form and galloping the way we hope he does.
My Aunt Connie's got a great turn of foot. He won the E-ball well. It was a real hot race. Came from nearly last place to win it. His earlier races, we bought him last year, and we more or less trying to find out how to ride him really. Made a run with him, dropped him in. But in the E-ball we dropped him right out, and he won well. Sapta Party, he's got loads of ability. Finished 5th twice over, Group 1 horse at York, no luck in running. And then went to U-Ball, run 22, ran wide all the way around. Finished 5th, only got me 3 lengths.
Very interesting there, Edward. We're joined on the couch now by Ian Remington. Ian, welcome.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Ian's going to have a chat about the race now with us before we go on to talk about Black Caviar. So, Ian, did you fancy anything the Herbert Power tomorrow?
Yeah, I think there's a very good mare in the race, Midnight Martini, and I think she's been taken along really nicely towards this race. Through the 1400 up to 1600, 1800 metres last start, and I just got this feeling that she may well be a Caulfield Cup horse this time next year. But if she gets under everybody's guard a little bit on Saturday and wins, that they might push the envelope and have a crack at the Caulfield Cup again this year.
And she probably just did what she had to last start. Wasn't an ultra impressive win, but a win nonetheless.
Well, yeah, she got there, and I think she's that sort of horse that's going to enjoy the slower tempo when she goes up in distance.
Beautiful. Edward's got the market in front of us now. He'll take us through all the runners, including Midnight Martini.
Yes, Nick, very interesting race this. The market is as follows. Tamby, the favourite from the Lloyd Williams team, at $2.90. Then Lucky 88 at $5, $5.50 Chewin, Another one, $9. Midnight Martini, Rimo Selection at 11s. 14s, Macedonian, $15, My Scots Grey. Sapta Parties at 17. Bauer from the Luca Kamani team, $21. Million Kanish, the other runner from the Brian Allison team, out here for the Cups, is at $26. I'm going for Chewin Nick from the Robert Smurden team. Really like the way this horse is coming along this preparation.
Was very unlucky last start at Caulfield. Probably a good thing beating that day.
Yeah, and going back, it's run at Moonee Valley when Robert Smurden tipped it to us on the first episode of Chewing the Fat was really good as well. So last couple of performances have been good and I think heading in the right direction.
Well, I'm going to stick with Tammy. I thought last win was very impressive. And your cousin Natalie, all the way from Fiji, said she's got an each way special in the race. The Luca Kamani trained Bauer, which you've just told the punters is $21. So Natalie might be trying to do it again this week.
Well, you know what Nat's like. She's always finding the ones of value and those ones are winning at the moment.
Exactly. Well, there's the race for tomorrow. But the main race for tomorrow, in my opinion, in most people's eyes, is the Scalacci Stakes, where Black Caviar returns to the track. And you were heavily involved in Black Caviar from a very early age. Tell us about that.
Well, yeah, it's a fairly long story, and I think just to put it back into perspective, the actual breeder of the horse was Rick Jamison from Gilgai Farm, and but our involvement started quite some time before that. I actually bought the mother of Black Caviar when I was at Aquanita Racing. We paid $305,000 for the filly. She was a Desert Sun filly. We bought her at the Magic Million sale, and unfortunately she broke down while she was being broken in. And I was at Aquanita then, and we had some partners that had gone in the horse, and the guys were good enough at Aquanita to refund those fellas their money. They're probably bleeding about that now, but the money was refunded, and we spent quite a long while trying to get that filly to the track, and she just wasn't up to it. She had this problem, but she had a terrific action, and she was a very nice horse. So we then were lucky enough. I'd moved jobs from Aquanita to Swettenham Stud, and Rick Jamison sent the filly along, a yearling filly, for us to prepare for the 2008 Melbourne Premier Sale. And we took Black Caviar to that sale, where she made $210,000. So Swettenham Stud and myself, we've had a fair impact in her all the way through.
Well, it's going to be a huge day for the Swettenham boys tomorrow. Not only is Black Caviar going around, but also Chase the Rainbow in the Caulfield Guineas. Yeah, look, we've been very excited by that particular horse coming along. Rick always reckoned it was a very good horse from the very first time that he encouraged me to come down and watch a trial. So yes, certainly tomorrow's race is going to be very tough for it, I believe, because of the sectionals they may run. I've got a feeling they won't run as quick as everybody thinks they might in that race, but certainly the horse is coming along well, and on its last win, which where it defied the tempo and the track bias on the day, it looks like the Norman Robinson and the Derby might be really good races for the horse, and that'll be a fitting reward for our stallion Dash for Cash.
Remo, just putting your racing fan hat on, you've been involved in the game for a long time. How exciting is Black Caviar for the industry?
Oh, enormously exciting, and it's exactly the sort of horse that we need to get people back to the races, Edward. I believe the best racehorse that I've ever seen in my time is a horse called Vane. Vane was absolutely outstanding. What he did in the Spring Carnival in his 3-year-old year was just unbelievable. And interestingly, this mare's got a double cross of Vane in her blood. So, you know, it's probably since then that we've seen a horse as exciting as this.
How do you compare the two?
Very, very hard to compare the two horses coming from different eras. If you look at the time form ratings, Vane was absolutely outstanding in the whole history of Australia, and in fact Vane never raced after he raced in the Emirates or the George Adams Handicap, it was called that year, as a 3-year-old. So he never raced again, and his time form ratings are unbelievable. I think they're best left separate. But certainly I just remember him as a horse that I used to go with my father to make sure we never missed him run.
Beautiful, Ian. Well, that's absolutely sensational. Thank you very much for joining us today. After having a chat to you, I think I'll go and snap up the $5 on Chase the Rainbow for the Derby.
Good on you. Well, let's hope he goes right through to that race. But there's obviously going to be a very good race, and the Derby attracts a decent field all the time.
always one of Australia's toughest races to win. We're going to take a short break on Chewing the Fat. When we return, Bree will be back on the couch with me to take me through all the special events at Caulfield tomorrow. But make sure you get involved with our social networking. Add us as a friend on Facebook and make sure you follow us on Twitter, where you'll see all the news and the photos before they happen, and you're watching Chewing the Fat.
Sportingbet is built by punters for punters, so you get the very best experience. At Sportingbet, you can expect more from the latest in customised betting with black books, favourites and iForm. Plus, Sportingbet covers all the exotics, including trifectas, quinellas, exactas and first four. Bet fast online or at sbet.mobi on your mobile, anytime, anywhere. That's why there's no better bet than a Sportingbet.
Caulfield Guineas, October 8. Book early bird tickets now.
Well, welcome back to Chewing the Fat, thanks to Sportingbet. We have an enormous weekend down at Caulfield this weekend for the Age Caulfield Guineas Day. In the fashion and entertainment, we have the Chadstone Fashion Stakes, which kick off on the Fountain Lawn at Caulfield. We have the final of the Stylish Gentlemen and the Stylish Ladies 40 plus. And then we have heats as well of the 18 to 40 Stylish Ladies. So it's not to be missed. And then of course the enormous run and much anticipated Black Caviar in the Scalacci Stakes. And then to follow, it keeps going. We have Sneaky Sound System on the Fountain Lawn after the race meeting. So Nick, it's going to be an enormous weekend. It's not to be missed.
Well, it's a brilliant weekend of racing, but it sounds like the entertainment side of it's just as impressive.
Yes, it sure is. So you need to get down to Caulfield this weekend. Well, let's win you some money, shall we?
Let's win some money to buy a drink for the face of Caulfield. We've got all the best bets in front of us here for the weekend. In the best bet, Cale Morton, he's tipping Tanby. His exact words were, the more you have on, the more you win. Bree's going to go with Black Caviar, as is Edward. Really putting the head in the chopping board there. Natalie's gone with Helmet. She said, every time I hear the horse's name, it reminds me of Nick's hair. Well, I'm going to go with one at Moonee Valley tonight. Race 6, number 8, La Praline from the Peter Moody barn. Roughies, we're all about value on this show. Cale Morton is again stuck with Torio's Quest, which he talked about earlier in the show. Natalie's gone with Wall Street, the New Zealand galloper. Bree's gone with Yosei, the horse that never runs a bad race. Edward's gone with another Kiwi, King Mufasa. Well, I'm going to Moonee Valley tonight. I was quite taken with one in race 1, number 10, Tora. I think that might be a good each-way bet for the punters.
Terrific.
And of course, don't forget, Nick and everyone else, that you can get the full interviews, over 20 different interviews this week from the trainers and jockeys. Go to victorianstallions.tv/news to access those interviews.
Well, Bree, you've been a sensational co-host today, so thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Nick. It's been terrific.
The bad news is that you won't be in next week, but absence makes the heart grow fonder, and all your fans can tune in a fortnight when you're going to be joining us again for the Cox Plate show.
Yes, yeah, a big show, definitely, with the Cox Plate, so really looking forward to it.
And it's a big show in more ways than one, because it will go for an hour that day instead of the normal half an hour, so obviously the demand to see more of Bree has caused that change. But make sure you're tuning in again next Friday when we have a huge show for you. We'll be joined in the studio by one of Australia's leading trainers. There are plenty of specials from Sportingbet at the moment, including the Last Man Standing competition, which kicks off today, so make sure you get involved there. And until then, get to Caulfield tomorrow, have a great day, back a winner. I'll see you next week on Chewing the Fat.
This program is proudly brought to you by Sportingbet.
This has been a Thorough Media production.